all heard of IQ, right? That number that's supposed to tell us how smart we are, maybe how much potential we have. But what if that number is just, the tip of a much, much larger and more vibrant iceberg, hiding this whole ocean of different capabilities? Today, we're taking a deep dive into a really fascinating perspective from RuiEnglish. It challenges our traditional understanding of intelligence. We're going to explore how human potential truly extends far beyond just a single metric, and how that impacts everything, how we learn, how we connect, how we thrive in the world.
Right. And our mission today really is to uncover the truly multidimensional nature of intelligence. We'll look at how various competencies, things far beyond just logical reasoning, shape our full capabilities. And importantly, we'll see how a holistic approach, like the one championed by RuiEnglish, can transform learning. It becomes this profound journey, not just about acquiring knowledge, but also about fostering personal growth and cultivating what we might call global citizenship.
Global citizenship. What exactly does that mean in this context?
Well, it's about developing individuals who don't just master a language, like English. They also gain the cultural understanding, the empathy, and the critical thinking skills they need to genuinely connect with diverse communities and, to contribute positively in our very interconnected world.
Okay, got it. So get ready to maybe redefine what it means to be smart. We'll explore this broader landscape of intelligence, examine a specific framework showing how different traits interact, and then connect it all back to the transformative power of language learning. Okay, let's unpack this then. For decades, we really put a lot of stock in that single IQ score, didn't we? It felt like the measure. But what did we get wrong? Why was relying so heavily on just that number maybe problematic?
We absolutely did. And it was a significant oversight looking back. For too long, IQ was kind of mistaken for the entire map of the mind. It promised to quantify brilliance, right? But in reality, it only captured a sliver of human potential, specifically logical reasoning and problem solving. It's a useful snapshot, sure, but it's so far from the full, vibrant portrait of intelligence that truly exists within us all.
So who helped us see beyond that? Who are the pioneers that sort of shattered the IQ monopoly, so to speak?
Well, two prominent psychologists really stand out, Howard Gardner and Robert Sternberg. They were instrumental. Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences revealed a whole spectrum of strengths: linguistic, musical, bodily, kinesthetic, interpersonal, intrapersonal.
Right. Things IQ tests don't typically measure at all.
Exactly. And then you have Sternberg's triarchic theory. That emphasized analytical, creative, and practical dimensions of intelligence. What's really fascinating here is that together, their work demonstrated intelligence isn't some static score you just have. It's more like a dynamic toolkit for navigating life's challenges, with different tools needed for different situations.
That truly redefines mastery, then. It's not just about raw cognitive horsepower, is it? It's much more nuanced than that.
Precisely. You see, a high IQ might help a pianist grasp music theory quickly, maybe. But real skill, that's forged through thousands of hours of practice and discipline. It's not just about inherent ability.
And creativity, too. That often feels separate from pure logic.
Absolutely. Creativity demands more than just cognitive power. It requires curiosity, imagination, and the courage to take risks.
That idea of courage to take risks really strikes me. So it's not just having a brilliant idea, but the fortitude to pursue it, even when it's unconventional or maybe met with skepticism. That adds a whole different layer.
It does. And our sources highlight that history's greatest breakthroughs often weren't achieved by the highest scorers on some test. They were achieved by those who applied their knowledge in bold, meaningful ways. It shows that perseverance and vision are just as critical, maybe more so, than raw intellect.
Okay, so this brings us to the RuiEnglish framework. You mentioned it provides a kind of visual representation. Could you walk us through some key examples from it? Show how competencies like skills, creativity, autonomy, socialization, and wisdom sort of map across different intelligence levels.
Absolutely. And this framework is a brilliant illustration. But it's really crucial to remember the framework's own note here. It says, it is scientifically impossible to assign precise percentages to how these competencies relate to IQ.
Okay, so it's not a formula.
No, exactly. Intelligence is just too multidimensional. It's shaped by education, personality, culture, not just raw cognitive ability. This framework is illustrative. It synthesizes patterns seen in psychological research, doesn't give exact measures. It's about seeing the general trends, the bigger picture.
Got it. So thinking illustratively then, how do skills progress across the levels in this framework?
Well, the framework shows a pretty clear progression for skills. At the lower IQ levels, it describes limited complex skills, needing constant support. Then, as you move up, it progresses towards, at the very superior levels, an unusual ease in mastering intellectual skills. You see a clear path of development.
That makes sense. What about creativity? That's one we often see as separate from IQ. How does that look?
Yeah, creativity is a fascinating one here. It's generally described as low at the lowest levels, but it can still appear in unconventional forms, which is interesting. Then, say, in the 80-89 IQ range, you see practical creativity solves routine problems. At the average level, 9109, it's moderate creativity, capable of novel ideas when motivated. Then it really takes off. Strong, consistent creativity at 120, 129, and exceptionally creative, strong, divergent thinking at 130 plus in it.
So it can correlate, but it's not automatic, and motivation plays a role.
Exactly. It shows creativity isn't solely tied to the highest IQs, but manifests differently. And yeah, that motivation, maybe that courage we talked about, seems key.
And autonomy. How does our ability to self-direct change?
Autonomy also shows a clear developmental path in the framework. It ranges from very low supervision needed for daily life, right up to functional autonomy for daily life around that 80-89 mark. Eventually, you reach exceptional autonomy, self-directed with clear long-term goals, and even near total autonomy, often intensely independent at the highest levels. It maps that journey towards self-sufficiency.
Okay, let's zoom in on socialization. This feels really crucial for real-world interaction. How does the framework describe this competency?
Socialization is particularly interesting. It starts, as you might expect, often hindered by communication barriers at the lower levels. At the average level, 9109, individuals typically have good social skills, able to maintain stable relationships. Pretty standard. But here's what's fascinating. At the very superior level, 130 plus Tato, socialization is described as variable, can be charismatic leaders or socially withdrawn.
Variable. So super high IQ doesn't automatically mean super social skills.
Exactly. That variability is quite insightful, isn't it? It suggests raw intellect, while powerful, doesn't guarantee social fluency or leadership. It's a nuanced reminder that human connection involves more than just logical processing. It seems to be a separate skill set almost.
That's a really powerful point. It underscores how complex we are. Okay, finally, wisdom. What does the framework tell us about its development?
Wisdom is described as very limited due to difficulty with abstraction at the lowest levels. Makes sense. It becomes growing wisdom grounded in life experience and common sense, around the average range. At superior levels, it's emerging wisdom, though often domain-specific. And crucially, at very superior 130 plus Sundersnat, there's high potential for wisdom, but not guaranteed. It explicitly requires emotional maturity and life experience.
Not guaranteed. So even at the highest cognitive levels, wisdom isn't a given.
Precisely. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this framework truly shows us the rich, diverse tapestry of human capabilities. It really emphasizes that a single IQ score only gives you a very, very narrow view of a person's potential for growth and contribution. True intelligence seems to be about fostering this whole range of competencies.
Yeah, it really feels like socialization and wisdom emerge as particularly powerful, maybe underestimated aspects, especially for real-world impact and human connection.
Absolutely, and our sources confirm that. Intelligence finds its fullest expression, perhaps, in how we relate to others. Social intelligence, that's defined as the ability to empathize, collaborate, interpret social cues. It shapes our influence and connection in really profound ways.
And when you pair that with other things,
Well, when social intelligence is paired with resilience and autonomy, it builds confidence. It helps us roll with the punches, fostering that adaptability that's so critical for navigating our complex world. I mean, we all know people like that, right? Maybe brilliant academically but struggle socially, or vice versa, someone who might not ace tests but just connects with people. This framework helps explain that spectrum.
it really does. And wisdom feels like the ultimate culmination then. Taking intelligence to its highest form by integrating knowledge with something deeper.
Precisely. At its peak, intelligence matures into wisdom. It's described as the fusion of knowledge, ethical reflection, and compassion. A really powerful illustration is Nelson Mandela's legacy. His brilliance allowed him to grasp incredibly complex political situations, no doubt. But that brilliance was magnified profoundly by the wisdom that placed reconciliation above revenge.
Wow. That really demonstrates how an impactful mind integrates deep knowledge with profound ethical understanding and that human connection piece.
It's humbling, isn't it, to realize how many ways there are to be smart, and how much more we can appreciate in ourselves and others when we look beyond just one number.
So what does this all mean for us, especially when it comes to learning and education? This holistic perspective feels incredibly important for how we teach.
It is hugely important. Our sources state that nowhere is this holistic perspective more critical than in education, especially language learning.
Hmm.
The research suggests English language learners, for example, thrive not just on raw cognitive ability. They also rely heavily on motivation, emotional resilience, and supportive social contexts.
So it's not just about memorizing grammar rules.
Not at all. Consider the contrast. You might have a student who aces grammar drills but really struggles in a real conversation. Meanwhile, a peer with perhaps stronger interpersonal intelligence adapts effortlessly, even if their grammar isn't perfect yet. It highlights that language acquisition is far more than just rote memorization or logical analysis. It's deeply social, it's experiential, and it really demands a whole suite of intelligences working together.
So the most effective teaching methods must embrace this broader view, integrate all these different facets, the social, the emotional, the practical, not just the linguistic mechanics.
Absolutely. The most effective teaching methods recognize this. They integrate personal growth, cultural understanding, and expressive autonomy. It really is about developing the whole person. You see, learners with strong socializing skills and wisdom, they tend to engage more deeply with language, not just as a tool, but as a gateway to connection and understanding.
How does socialization help specifically?
Well, socialization accelerates language acquisition because it creates authentic, emotionally resonant interactions. You learn by doing, by connecting. And wisdom. That allows learners to navigate tricky cultural nuances and apply the language thoughtfully, effectively, ethically even.
This sounds like the real core of the RuiEnglish method then, doesn't it? Going beyond just vocabulary and grammar to something much deeper, much more transformative.
Yes, that's it entirely. By consciously aligning language learning with these crucial elements, creativity, autonomy, social skills, and wisdom, alongside the traditional cognitive skills, the RuiEnglish method transforms language from just a set of rules into a living system. It becomes a bridge, really, a bridge to global citizenship and a fuller expression of human intelligence.
So it's not just teaching English.
Right. It's cultivating global citizens, people who are well-rounded, empathetic, and equipped to thrive in our interconnected world. It truly emphasizes education as this pathway to personal growth and, you could say, moral development. It aims to make the learning experience profoundly transformative.
Wow, we've certainly taken a deep dive today into the many faces of intelligence, moving far beyond that single number. We've seen how competencies like skills, creativity, autonomy, socialization, and yes, wisdom are all crucial to our overall capabilities. And we've explored how a holistic approach, like the RuiEnglish method, tries to harness these diverse intelligences for really profound learning experiences, especially in language.
Yeah, and our journey today reinforces, I think, a vital message. True intelligence is about so much more than just what you know. It's profoundly about how you connect with others, how you adapt to new situations, and how you apply that knowledge with empathy, with insight. It's about fostering personal growth and really embracing your role as a global citizen in every interaction.
So as you go about your day-to-day, maybe consider this. How are you leveraging your own diverse intelligences? Beyond just your raw cognitive skills, how are you using them to connect with the world around you, to understand the bigger picture? What little nuggets of knowledge or experience will you gather today that might contribute to your own growing wisdom and help you connect just that little bit more deeply with others?